Welcome to Wealth Made Simple with Shaz, where you'll learn how to master your money through business, property, and tax-saving strategies. Your host has collectively helped his clients make tens of millions of pounds in additional profits through these strategic approaches to business. Introducing Shaz Nawaz, an award-winning chartered accountant, property tax expert, entrepreneur, and property investor.
And this week on Wealth Made Simple, we're talking about how to create yourself or create around you products which help you create long-lasting wealth and, more importantly, income as well, Kieron.
Yes.
And I think that is a very important topic for everybody.
Yes, I think when you look at take the massive corporations out of the equation. Your big Metaverse and Amazon and Google, so because they are kind of nameless entities. But look at another big corporation like Microsoft, for example. Microsoft has its own identity, but so does Bill Gates. He's got a personal brand. You know who he is, you know what he does, you know what he stands for. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is building that personal brand so that when people say, oh, look, it's Shaz. Oh, yeah, I know Shaz. He does a lot of work in property. He's a property tax accountant. He's an entrepreneur, businessman. He helps people. He does a radio show, all the rest of it. And you have that personal brand around you, so people can identify with what they know you from, and it elicits, because they know what you do, they know what you stand for, they can decide before ever having to actually meet you whether or not they trust you.
Absolutely. And I tell you, one of the people that I admired for doing this, and he's very well known in the UK, Richard Branson.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, Richard Branson has more failed companies under his belt than he has successful ones.
But the way that he built his brand.
But his personal brand.
Yeah, exactly. And then started doing certain adventures.
Yeah.
That caught, people's attention and the media's attention, and made him into a celebrity. Because you can be really rich and successful, but you won't be famous.
Yes.
And if you want to be famous, then you've got to go about doing that in a particular way. And fame brings celebrity. Celebrity brings everything that you just talked about, and which we're going to talk about. And you're absolutely right. It goes back to the trust factor.
Yes.
It helps you create your own ecosystem, helps you to have a wider network. And you see, if you go back, say, 30 years, to really go mainstream, you either had to get onto TV, as in buy ads.
Yep.
Okay. You either had to buy ads on a radio show or station, or you had to appear in a local or national newspaper. All of those are pretty expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it today.
Yeah.
You're on YouTube. Free. You've got your TV.
Yep.
You've got a podcast. Free. Radio.
You got radio.
You're on social media. Free. Pretty much your newspaper.
Yep.
So nobody really has an excuse, I think, not to explore those. Confidence aside and everything else, the tools are there, readily available, and most of these are on most people's smartphones if they have one.
Yeah, and you will get the occasional person. I'm a very, very private person, Shaz. I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to have a YouTube channel. I don't want to do a podcast. What about me?
That's fine. Do you want to make £1 million a year? Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Well, then you've got to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the be-all, end-all, by the way.
No.
But it's a big part, a huge part.
Ultimately, and there are two things to understand and I would say everyone needs to do research on this, and we will cover what we can here, but regardless of whether you want to be on social media or not, you probably should be. if you want to have a personal brand. If you're going to have a personal brand and you're going to use that to generate wealth, then you need to understand two fundamental things: sales and marketing.
Absolutely.
I watch a lot of content on YouTube and a lot of business content, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of, you know, business 101s, business do's and don'ts,
Good stuff, yeah.
entrepreneurship, stuff like that. That's what I enjoy. But almost every single entrepreneur, by and large, has made a fortune, lost a fortune, made a fortune, lost a fortune, made a fortune. Because they learned their lessons well the first time round, if they lost it all again, they know exactly what they'd do. And the first thing most of them would do centers around sales and marketing. And they market their information. They market themselves. And they market themselves well.
Yeah, and there's people out there, by the way, and it's a point well made, would say, well, I'm looking to build a company and I'm looking to scale, I'm looking to exit. So if it's built on my personal brand, I can't sell it. That may have been true a while back.
Yeah.
It's not true anymore because you can interlink your corporate identity and brand with your personal brand. Because once people get to know you, they'll do a bit of research on you and then get to your company and find out what you actually do.
Yes.
But and we've talked about this in the past, where we say you need more than one source of income. So if you build your personal brand, you're now creating an additional source of income for yourself. And everybody can do that pretty much because they've got something to share.
Yeah.
And then you talk to people and say, share some interesting stories. Well, nothing interesting happens in my life, which is untrue, by the way. So what I usually say to them, Kieron, is, well, A, go and start doing some interesting stuff then.
Yeah.
B, there's plenty of interesting things that happen to you, okay, where you've got experience. Because interesting doesn't always mean all the upsides and the good stuff.
Sometimes
it's the downsides and the hard stuff. And people usually resonate with you quicker when you share that because you're being more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And being honest and transparent. And it takes guts and courage to do that. Say, I did this and it all went wrong. Okay. And having the guts to share that with people is courageous, to say the least.
Yeah. I think on the back of that, if you're going to go down the route and say, oh, nothing ever interesting happens to me, I don't do anything interesting, I don't want to talk about my bad experiences, I don't want to be that vulnerable, okay, share an opinion.
The best thing you do on social media, as you know.
Share an opinion. I guarantee you there'll be people out there that disagree with you, there'll be people out there that agree with you. And all that is doing is starting a conversation. And as long as you control the conversation and, you know, and I don't mean control as in silence people who disagree with you or anything like that. What I mean is just
manage it well.
Manage it well. Be open to the debate and be open to listening to others. You've got two ears and one mouth for a reason. Listen more than you speak. But you're then engaging with an audience. And the second you're engaging with an audience, you're building a brand.
Yeah, building a following. And what's really good on that for that purpose, I find, Kieron, is that when you're sharing an opinion, you're then learning things which helps you to form an even better opinion.
Yeah.
The one that you had, because maybe there were weaknesses in your understanding, in your knowledge, in the way that you see something, in your perception. And that people point things out to you which you may not like at the time, but when you reflect, that helps you to form a more solid opinion, which is based on reality as opposed to what you perceive to be the truth.
Yeah. Solid opinion. Ketchup can be put on ice cream because tomatoes are a fruit. So it's a fruit sauce.
You put that on Facebook and let me know how you get on. And I might even comment, depending on how I'm feeling. And so people listening or watching may be thinking, well, what do I do to productize my skill or skills? And sometimes people don't know where to start. And the purpose of this particular episode is to give people some thoughts and ideas,
yeah,
and then obviously build around that. But as you've said, it's the, well, as I said, it's a know, like, trust factor.
Yes,
In fact,
yep.
I think we both said it. Alongside that, it's building your tribe, your community, being known for something.
Yeah.
And that then obviously sets up the stage for you, if I can use that word, okay, and a platform to now monetize that.
Yeah. And so people talk about, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers on TikTok, Instagram, wherever. And, they're living, the dream life and all the rest of it. Well, that by and large didn't happen overnight, but also you don't need that many.
Exactly. And it depends what they're doing.
You can quite comfortably, if you've got, say, let's 1,000 followers, and then you decide to create a product that people can buy, and that product costs £10. Yeah, I'm just keeping it small.
Yeah,
keeping it small. So you've got, and let's be realistic, maybe half of those people buy. Half of that 1,000 people buy your product at £10, because £10 is an impulse purchase. People who like you will go, yeah, do you know what? I'll support this person.
Even 10%.
Yeah, even 10%. 10% at £10. Still 100 people that have spent £10 with you.
Yeah.
And 100 times 10 is still £1,000.
Yep. And that's your starting point.
And that's just a start. When you get bigger or more, and you get 500 people buying,
and
that's
more
£5
sophisticated, exactly. It's a nice side income.
Yeah.
For not that much work.
Yeah.
Depending on obviously what you're doing and what you're selling.
Yeah. Very, very much so.
So there's people out there, like I said, who'll be thinking, what can I do, or where do I start? From my own point of view, I think the single best thing, and this is just my point of view, is speaking to an audience.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's, as you said, that marketing angle. How do I get an audience in front of me, or how do I get it in front of an audience? And if you're not good at that, but speak at other people's events. Yeah.
Just offer to speak.
Yeah. And just at the start, do it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, people get paid just because, but you can just do it for free as just starting off, cut your teeth.
And I think a lot of people are, there are, okay, I'm at a stage in my life where I can confidently turn around and say, Kieron doesn't work for free. I know my worth, I know what I do, and I'm good at what I do. So therefore, I get to charge what I charge for what I do.
But you've done the hard mile in the yards.
But I've been doing this for over 20 years. If I had to start in a new industry, in something I've never done before, I'd start with volunteer work. I'd find whoever I can nearest to me that is the best at what they do and offer to work for them for free. Do you know why? Because working for someone for free gives them, someone to do the work they don't want to do, and gives you an opportunity to learn. But it puts you in direct contact, networking with the right people that are doing what you want to do.
And it demonstrates that you're willing to do the hard yards and the heavy lifting. And the name that comes to mind is Steve Jobs, 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐼.
Yep. Yes, yeah.
Many others, by the way, but that just comes to mind because that's a story I've heard many a time.
Many a time.
So I think speaking is fantastic, and then some people might be thinking, well, I don't have the confidence. Well, then you've got to gain that skill. And if someone says, how do I speak better? Well, you do have to do more of it.
Yeah.
And nobody likes that advice, by the way, when they're starting off, because they want something else. But then you can go to Toastmasters, and they are fantastic at helping people to gain confidence and speaking. You've got the Profession Speaking Association, which I was part of for many, many years. They help you to craft your skill to speak more, speak better. And then there's coaches, consultants, mentors, so on and so forth. Yeah. And your first 2 or 3 talks, just do it around friends and family. Yeah. And get used to it.
Also, I think that on top of finding these groups and doing talks at these groups for free and things like that, there's also a kind of more subtle understanding that when you're going to these talks and you're doing these talks for free, if you go in with and I don't have much confidence. Okay, I'm sure there's a subject you know really well or you're passionate about that you can talk about for hours.
And that's exactly what you should be talking about.
And that's what you should be talking about.
And then you got BNI, okay, which is a business networking initiative. Then you've then got the Chambers of Commerce, which you can be part of. You've got a Rotary. So these are where you create friends who be supportive, and that gives you an opportunity to talk. So I think speaking works really well. Alongside that, and these are in no particular order, by the way, I'm just choosing my favorites. Write a booklet. Not a book, a booklet.
Yeah, pamphlet, booklet.
On tips, tricks, tools, techniques, on the thing that you know more about than anything else.
Yep. And if you want advice on writing or general advice on any of this stuff, I find people who are successful in doing it and just ask them one question, because most people are happy to give you advice. Yeah. Just be careful of whose advice you take. Baz Luhrmann, wear sunscreen. Yeah. But if somebody's been doing what you want to do, ask them, how do I get started? How do I do what you do? And the majority of people, some people might say, well, you just got to get involved. You just got to get in. That's a little bit vague. That's too vague for a lot of people. Yeah. But the majority of people will, if you persist, will say, well, why don't you come along to one of these? Come along to this group of people, like-minded people. You'll learn a lot. Now, they're not necessarily teaching you something, but they're expanding your network. Yeah.
And then people might say, because I've heard all these over the past, and I've said some of these, by the way, okay? So I've been there as well. I know something about something, or I know a lot about something, and I don't know what people want to know about it. Okay. Well, go out there and ask people, and even easier, go on Facebook or some of the other platforms and ask people, okay, if you are X, I, okay, let's just talk about the stuff that I do. If you're a property investor, okay, what's the one thing that you want to know about property taxes, for example? Or which property tax do you want to know most about? Or have you had a tax problem in property? Okay, if so, what was it? And people will, as you said, happily share. And you look at the amount of comments you got, and obviously the bigger the following, the more the comments. Or go into groups, okay, where they've got
massive followings,
and then you can ask questions in there, and that'll tell you what people are struggling with, what their challenges are. There you go. Now you've got your top 3, 5, 7, 10 things you can write about. That's your booklet done. And then obviously you can give that away for free as a lead magnet, as you know, or you can write it as a report, or you can try and sell it depending on the quality of the content.
I'm going to stop you there. You glossed over something. And give it away as a lead magnet. What's a lead magnet? Why do I need one? What's the purpose of it?
I'll come to that in a second then.
Okay.
And once you've done that, now you've built a bit of authority. You can then think about writing a book, which gives you pretty much instant credibility and makes you an authority. Okay.
Yeah, providing it's correct.
Yeah. And hence why we both said at the start, write about, talk about, do the things that you know more about than
anything else.
A lead magnet, basically, Kieron, obviously you know what it is. Is some information that you share with people in exchange for their contact details. Could be their email address, could be their phone number, okay, could be both, okay. So you say, I'll make an exchange, you give me your details, and I'll give you this information, which is very useful and handy to you, I believe, okay. And the title and the headline, kind of sell it to them. If they're interested, they'll give you their details. Now you're creating a database, okay, on your CRM, customer relationship management system, or just collating emails. So you're now building a community, okay, where you can start emailing people information about what you do and stories and everything else. So you're building a community.
And now that you've got your lead magnet and you've got some email addresses, and you're now building you as a brand.
Yep.
So bringing it right back to where we started, building you as a brand. People are willing to give you their email address to learn from you.
Absolutely.
Because you've got information they want.
Yeah. And then Share stories, share tips, tools, techniques, as you said earlier, challenges, problems, things that you've done which haven't worked so well and how you overcame them, things you've done which have worked well, and what you learned from them, and what people can do, so on and so forth. Start sharing the information that you have between your ears, which is experience, and you'll see that the people it resonates with will read your emails, and you can check, okay, the open rate, so on and so forth, click-through rates, as you know, and that then tells you which one's working well, which one isn't working well, so you know where to focus.
Yeah. And if you want to expand it further and you want to get more accustomed to speaking to people without having to speak to people, you can record a video. Hey, thanks for signing up for this pamphlet that I did, the mini booklet. I hope it's really useful information. Any questions, get in touch. You've got the email now. Respond to this. I'll reply. Suddenly, you're now talking to individuals on video, getting used to talking. And it's just another avenue of getting used to talking, getting used to... And you'd be surprised. But it also gives it a personal touch because people know it's you. And 100%. It's not... We live in a world full of, chat bots that do everything for you. And I've used them before. They're great. They're fantastic. They serve a purpose.
They're on my list, by the way.
Yeah. And they do serve a purpose. But I think chatbots are not an entry-level thing. They are when you've established yourself,
a bit more sophisticated.
When you're a little bit more further along the trail.
Yes.
To begin with, you want that personal connection. You want that you and me. It's you and me. I'm just giving you information.
Now, people might be thinking out there, oh, Shaz, you said speak. Okay. Don't want to do that. You said write a book. Seems like a lot of hard work. Why would anybody read my book? What are some of the more easier things I can do?
You can build online quizzes about your subject to help get the information across. Make it almost gamify it.
Yeah, that's always popular.
Which is always popular. I
That's what I'll link it with. I'd say speaking live in front of an audience, physically in a room, somebody may not be comfortable with. Run a webinar.
Webinars are very strong.
Okay, and you and I know people who monetize those extremely well, creating a 6, 7, even 8 figure, mainly 6 and 7, running webinars.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And that then gives you the confidence, thinking, okay, I can do this, talking to a screen where I can see people on screen. Now let me just translate this into, or transfer this into, doing it physically in a room, if that's your choice. And you don't have to, by the way. Webinars might work so well, you might think, I want to carry on doing this.
Yeah. And do you know what? If it works for you, then that's what you use. That's
or
what you
make
do.
it work for yourself.
Or make it work.
That this thing doesn't work, but the thing works. You've just not been able to make it work yet, because there are people out there who are making it work. I think, again, we're sharing different ideas here because we don't want to kind of make it prescriptive. Newsjacking on social media.
Yeah, take what's in the news and go, what's your opinion on this? And
share your opinion, by the way.
Yeah. But when you do that, and this is a caveat that I would say to anyone, is be prepared.
If others have an opinion too.
Well, not just that, but if you've got an opinion, that's great. Be able to substantiate it, be able to back up what you're saying, know your facts, know why you have your opinion, because people will challenge you. They will.
And some will get nasty.
And also understand that when it does get nasty, because it will at times, because people feel strongly about things, it's not personal. Don't take it to heart.
And it's going to strengthen you. The first time you get knocked back, it hurts. The 150th time you get knocked back, you usually think, that's their opinion. Let's agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And you
don't get drawn into it.
Yeah, and you kind of, to some extent, you can become quite zen about it after a while.
Yeah.
But that you've got to walk the walk.
You've got to get the experience
to get that.
Alongside that, you've got these are things that literally anyone can do. And when I say anyone, I 100% mean absolutely anybody and everybody. There are children unboxing toys that are monetizing their YouTube channel
in a big way. Some of them.
Yeah. And and when I say monetizing, I mean 7 figures. They've already got their YouTube plaques for passing 100,000, 250,000, so on and so forth, views and subscribers. So, yeah, and that is a child doing what a child loves, getting a new toy and opening it and playing with it. And that's making money. So for everyone else out there, we've got a long list to get through. At least one of them's going to work. And depending on how much work you put into it, you'll get out what you put in. And I think everyone can make money and wealth monetizing themselves and their ideas and opinions.
Absolutely. Well said. So let's rattle through some of these. But rattle through, I mean, try and go through them as quickly as you can to give people good options. But obviously we can't go through all of them, and at the end we'll share how people can get hold of this particular list. I think a really powerful one, 2 powerful ones in fact, Kieron, which both have used. And if you're not sure what to do a survey. Ask people questions.
Ask people questions.
And then analyze the survey. And if you don't know how to analyze, use somebody who can assist you with that, and then create that as a report.
Yeah.
Because that's based on real life experience of people who've answered your survey. So the questions need to be written in a sensible way, which gets an answer, okay, which isn't a leading question, but gives you enough facts, figures, and information for you to create a report.
Yeah.
And that report usually will be in high demand.
Yes. Yeah.
If done properly.
People thrive on information. People, even those who say they don't want to learn, still like to learn because they like information. People, I think it's a fundamental.
But it's powerful, Kieron.
Thing.
So I'm an accountant, as you know, and if someone says to me, "Have a report," okay, and depending on how they market it, okay, and 80% of accountants said X, okay, on how they collect fees, manage debt, build their business, sell it or whatever, and click to download, but you can have other stuff. I'm interested. 80% are doing something which I might not know about, or let me see what they're doing just to make sure I'm doing it as well, one or the other.
But
do you know what I mean?
Either way, that one report is worth your email address.
100%. Okay, so that works incredibly well. We talked about earlier in terms of exchanging email addresses for lead magnets and vice versa. Once you've got that, create a weekly newsletter.
Yeah.
And share information. If you think, what do I share on my newsletter? Share stories. I'm simplifying it here because we spend a lot of time, okay? And it's important, I think, Kieron, that people add a personal touch. Show your personality in this stuff here. And that's very important. Don't become a robot or think, what do people want me to be? Be yourself, as Oscar Wilde said, because everybody else is already taken.
Yeah. Completely be yourself. I think also with newsletters, people sometimes fall into the trap of overcomplicating it in their own brain. It's with a newsletter, in my opinion, give me a story, give me some of you, give me some of the information that you have, but bite size it. Let me digest it.
Simplify it as well.
And then on the next newsletter, give me a bit more information. Still bite sized. Let me digest it. Let me understand it fundamentally. And I know that might seem like you're drip feeding information just to try and keep people hanging on. And to a degree you are, but also you've got to understand that we live in a world where information is powerful, and if you give everything you know at once,
people will be overwhelmed.
People will be overwhelmed.
It's not possible anyway.
How long did it take you to get from knowing nothing about your chosen subject to knowing what you know about your chosen subject? It didn't happen overnight. You didn't read a newsletter and get all the information.
No. And different people at different stages.
Yeah.
And you don't know what stage people are at. So you've got to give people information, elementary, basic, okay, medium, advanced, so on and so forth. With that, if you think, well, I can't write a newsletter or 5 articles or whatever, how many articles do you choose? Well, get some people to contribute.
Yeah.
There's people out there who probably haven't got the time and the energy and the enthusiasm to build a following, but they're happy to contribute, just like earlier we said, speak at other people's events.
Yeah.
Get them to guest blog or guest write for you with their name and their company details. So you help them get some exposure.
And it's free marketing for them.
Information for you and them.
Yeah, exactly.
Share weekly tips. Okay. On do's, don'ts, so on, so forth.
Yeah.
And test what works.
But when you do do's and don'ts,
yeah,
make it relevant. And by that, I mean, if you've said do something.
Don't I say don't do the opposite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
okay, if I've got to
make
do
sure
this,
you're punctual when you turn up on time to meetings. And don't say make sure you're not late type of thing, because you've already
said be punctual.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't need to duplicate yourself.
Yeah, otherwise it just becomes a bit long-winded. But I think weekly tips are very popular. Some people, as you know, in the world of marketing, who know a lot more than you and I will probably ever know.
Yeah.
In terms of
they've probably forgotten more than we'll ever know.
Exactly. In terms of copywriting, we'll say have a daily email.
Yeah.
50 words, 100 words, whatever. Okay, and just share information. With that, share templates. People like templates.
Yeah.
Okay. How to do things.
If you've just started going into an industry or someone's just coming into your industry, you know, and there's paperwork in every industry, I think. Yeah, of some sort.
Pretty much.
Well, what documents do you use the most? Do you use, you know, a setup document? Do you use, you know, empty out all your information, but put what it is you put in here, what is it you put in there, and create a template. People will pay for that.
And people will give you feedback.
Yeah.
And today you can improve your template as well. With that, you can, depending on what you do, share calculations and examples. Create an FAQs, frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
And answer them. And ask people will give you the questions themselves. You can then answer them, which is helpful. Create interactive tools.
Yes.
So people can engage.
People love engagement.
You know?
They love being able to just connect with something.
And here's one of your favorites, Kieron. Create an online course.
Yep, done that.
And all the things that we've shared so far lead partly to the online course.
Yeah.
In terms of you can then sell it, okay? And there's lots of platforms out there without choosing one particular one.
Yeah.
Where you can host this, and then obviously you need to market that, and you can sell your course, and now bang, you're monetizing.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. It's going to take time. Remember, that course there, depending on how you've created it, will have a certain amount of longevity. It might be evergreen, or it might be for a particular period. I talk about tax, and as you know,
tax changes.
So it's only for a limited period. Somebody else might be talking about a different principle or a concept or a strategy, which is evergreen. So once that's out there, it applies going forward, unless there's a drastic change some ways in that particular area.
And the nice thing about online courses are if you do the videos, you do the paperwork, you do, you know, give out all the things that we've covered up till now. You know, you give out a newsletter for the course, you give out, you know, templates for the course, you know, include that sort of stuff. People buy the course and they buy a piece of you. You've got your video, you've got, you know, you talk them through the course, you get them through the course. That's great. And then they've got you can answer their emails and answer questions on the course and have like a weekly live, which people subscribe to, or
a 5-day challenge,
or a 5-day challenge or something like that. But you can also, once it's done, you can maintain it, but you only need to do the right work, the hard work once.
Yeah. I just checking just to make sure we had a 5-day challenge on here.
Yes.
Which we have, because it's a very comprehensive list. And with that, then, Kieron, after the first course, then the second course, the third course, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That then leads to coming to a room. Okay, let's talk about more stuff. That then leads to, okay, how about some coaching? How about some mentoring? How about a mastermind? Because exchanging your time for money one-to-one will only get you so far.
Yeah.
At best, usually for most people, 6 figures, and that will require hard work. You're a mastermind group, okay, or a mentoring group. Now you're working towards 7 figures once you got enough
Yes.
of a group size or more than one group.
Yeah, and if you are smart about it to begin with, and this is what I would personally advise and personally do, is when you create your first course, create your course, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, but create your first course ready for children, so that a child could understand it.
Right for a 9-year-old, I think it's the
Yeah,
Daily Mail, Daily Telegraph, or most of the newspapers. 9 or 10.
but that's your beginner course. Once people have bought into that course, they can become advanced course, expert course, mentorship. It all stacks one on top of the other. It all grows, and as it grows, your personal brand grows.
While adding value at the same time.
And you're always adding, and that's key. Add value.
Yeah. Because if you try and shortchange people by thinking they're stupid, and I'm not saying people do, but some people do, you get caught out like this.
Oh, so quick.
You know what I mean? There's nowhere to hide.
No.
Always add value and be genuine. And quite often, what you'll find where we are today in the world compared to, say, 30 years ago, is that you've got to share, like, some people even say 90% of your stuff for free and charge for the 10%. But for the 10%, you can charge a lot. Because you've given so much value. But, okay, I want to pay for the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because they're so good.
Yeah.
Most people don't want a free ride or free lunch. There are some, of course.
Yeah,
the majority want a fair exchange.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's our experience.
And one of the things that it's a marketing concept that that I was introduced to is the know-how.
Yes.
Demonstrate you know it, then people will pay to learn how to do it.
Yes. That was a good course, wasn't it?
It was.
Many years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it, didn't we? Absolutely, yeah. I think that was quite powerful. And then with that, when you're doing good things in terms of more content, you've got case studies, you've got testimonials, which you can create, which is living proof, but also you can share this to the open, wide world.
Yeah.
Okay? So that works incredibly well. And then without getting too much into the marketing, because you've got obviously landing pages, so on and so forth, lead magnets, and then we'll be here for a long time. But think about creating your own quotations.
Well, I mean,
make them personal to you. People quote other people, don't they? I think I've quoted at least two people today.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I've quoted 2 or 3, and and you and I have both quoted extremely famous people, and I mean worldwide famous people, and locally famous people.
Yes. That's right.
Our friend Rob Moore.
Yeah.
Your network is your net worth.
Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde. Globally famous.
Yes.
To
those who know him. Through his works.
Yeah, exactly.
And then obviously that gets you towards building your own personality or sharing your personality. That takes you to obviously brand building. That then takes you to story building. And all of these obviously require, work for you to become better at them. Yeah. And the real important point for all of this is what you're going to become and what you're going to learn on that journey. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, I've taken this journey and so have you. Okay? And if you look back 5, 10, 15 years ago, people wouldn't recognize me. Say, that's not Shaz, the one who went to primary or secondary school with me.
Yeah.
He was able to a goose.
Yeah. I mean, the way, when I started learning and developing myself over just mundanely doing something, that's when I really started to develop, and my entire life has changed. Not just me, but my life and everything around me has changed.
It gives you confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Share your opinion, and then, but I think even more important than that, it gives you confidence to say, other people have an opinion too. Let me take that on board.
Yeah.
And better myself.
I'm not afraid of other people's opinions.
Absolutely. And then obviously you talked about sharing opinions. You can also seek opinions.
Yeah.
And furthermore, what you can do is once you've got obviously there's opinions and then there's thought pieces. What do you think about a particular thing happening in your industry? Share your thoughts, share your experiences, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're selling product, physical stuff, or let's say you're selling screens, okay,
Yep.
or keyboards, a new keyboard comes out, you can talk about that. So this isn't just about information per se, although it is. This also relates to selling hard physical products.
Yes,
Which could be
yeah.
your own or could be from other manufacturers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it works there too. As you know, people love books. Review books.
Yep.
Share book reviews for them.
And you know, when somebody else does something in your industry, in your sphere of influence, as it were, celebrate it. You know, don't be afraid of. There are sometimes people like, oh, you're my customer. You're mine. It's very possessive, and I think that's the wrong way to be. Personally, people might disagree with me on this, and they're welcome to. I welcome that debate, but if you say to a customer, "I'm probably not quite right for you because I've got this which is perfect for you, but also this guy is also in this industry. He's got more information on the specific thing you want. Go see him."
And then you can build a relationship with them. So when you've got things that they think you're better at, okay,
Yeah.
they'll then refer with confidence. You know,
Yeah.
portray the behavior you want the people to do.
Yeah.
Everybody wants referrals, but they don't want to give referrals.
Yeah.
Give first.
Yeah.
As you talk about,
Give
you know,
first.
become givers gain. Give first, and then look at taking. 'Cause that's a very powerful concept.
Yeah, incredibly powerful. It's far more powerful than people think.
And two things that I learned, two of many things that I learned in the Professional Speaking Association, which were to get credit, give credit.
Yes.
Got to give it first,
Yep.
and then you get it. And the second one was helped me a lot with story building, Kieron, is make other people the hero of your stories.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, a prime example of this is when I'm doing my work and when I'm doing what it is that I do. I direct an 𝐸𝐵𝐵𝐵𝐵 mix, and when someone says something and I feed it out, my voice goes to everyone on talkback. Everyone in a TV studio can hear my voice generally, unless I deselect them, but that's different. But if somebody says something and then I repeat it and then I get given credit, my first rule is no, don't credit me for that. That was somebody else's idea. We did that because of them, because it was a good idea. I recognized it was a good idea, but it was their idea. I'm not taking credit for what somebody else has done. But when I do say, yeah, that was me, everyone goes, yeah, of course it was, because you don't take credit for other people's work. So we know it was you. And it gives another layer of credibility.
And people respect you more because some people, if not all, will catch you out. Not looking to catch you out, but they'll know that you're taking somebody else's quotation or somebody else's work.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you know you're doing it directly, give them credit. And when that person finds out, they say, I'm more than happy for you to carry on doing this, Kieron, because you referenced me.
Yeah.
Fine, carry on.
Yeah.
It's no problem whatsoever. We've got some comments here about people saying, really enjoyed the program, helpful, useful, thank you very much. Got Faisal who's saying, and I think he's making a really valid point here, and this is where most people usually start. And he's saying the problem is many people still operate in the world where knowledge is power and keep everything a big secret. And he's saying, but it's always good to share and develop knowledge and keep improving.
I will disagree with Faisal on that. I think there are levels of knowledge.
So you're being contrarian, which is another thing on our list. Go for it.
I think when I first started, I was desperate for information. I was desperate to learn, but I wasn't very good at what I did because, I'd never done it before. I was learning. And there was a massive learning curve. Then I got to a point where I thought I knew everything and I thought I was great. And then that's where I became a gatekeeper of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
People asked me about things and it was very much, go figure it out. It's not that difficult. Come on now. I'm good at what I do. There was a level of arrogance. And I look back and I cringe at how I could be in those times. And then now I know there is a whole lot that I don't know. I know that I have so much to learn. But if somebody asks that is less experienced than me, I am happy to give them advice. And I think that's true in a lot of industries, in a lot of cases. People are happy to give, depending on what industry they're in. If they're in an industry of information, they're happy to give a little bit of information for free and then charge you for the rest of the information. But the rest of that information is going to be really, really good because they've earned the right to charge that level of information. But if they're mediocre at what they do, that's when I find people are gatekeepery.
I think it was Dr. Edward Kramer who said, the hole you give through is the hole you receive through. And before you get any ideas, Kieron, he was talking about information and doing good things. Okay.
Oh.
And
now I'm less interested.
No, there you go. And, I know your mind works, you see. And before you get both into trouble, it's about giving as much as you can, and then you're going to get more from the universe, karma, God, whatever people believe in or feel is their truth.
Yes.
But I'm going to side with 𝐓𝐴𝐺𝐻 today for a change. I don't usually, by the way, and he knows that. I think you make a very good point, but there are people out there who maybe have some experience and have some knowledge, and you're right, they're usually at a mediocre level at best, I think, who can still share stuff, but they don't want to share stuff. Or, okay, they know 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or however many things, think, I don't want anybody else to know. Little do they know, most people already know. But because you share it, and what makes you different compared to everybody else is one thing and one thing only, Kieron. That's your take on things. Yeah. Because whatever you're sharing, I'm sharing, other people are sharing, okay, isn't going to be new.
No.
It's always taken from, and we've talked about this a lot privately in terms of where information comes from. We've gone back to, I think, 1850s and sometimes beyond that. In terms of where's this come from? So it's all recycled, regurgitated in a different way. What people really care about is what's your opinion on this, what's your take on this. And once you start sharing those tips, tricks, okay, secrets, as Faisal says, but when you share your take, that's what resonates and connects you with people.
Well, I mean, if you, and I can't remember the exact what each one is, but I think jump on your favorite search engine and take a look. There are only 7 stories.
Yeah, 7 top stories. Yeah,
there are only 7. Every film you've ever watched, every book you've ever read, every story you've ever been told,
or you've told in this kind of style,
any story that you have told, they all fall into one of 7 category of stories.
And that could be our topic for next week or the week after, because you've already got a topic for next week.
We do have a topic for next week.
We're ahead of the game. And we've got 𝐓𝐻𝐻 �Ali, who used to present Salam Sports on the channel here. And he says, agree to an extent. And he's saying, knowledge sought by yourself is much more likely to sit with someone, okay, which works. Relying on others to do the work for you will mean any knowledge you glean from others is less powerful for you. Therefore, gatekeepers' information might even be good for the person in search of it.
Okay.
That's his view. That's his opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Or his experience. And that works too.
Yeah, it does. I think I agree. The more work you do for yourself by yourself creates more power.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Faisal says you can learn more from others and develop your own style and version as you teach, learn, grow, and develop. And
completely agree.
And that, Kieron, even though we haven't been through all of our list, is as much as we can do. If anybody wants a copy of the list, as always, because we're talking about information sharing, get in touch. More than happy to give you our list, and you can add to the list and share it back with us, because I'm sure there's things we have not picked up on there.
Although there is almost 100 things on this list.
There could be 101 or 102 or more.
Yeah.
There's always things.
There's always things
but you're right, it is quite comprehensive. And
so if you want it, get in touch.
Feel free to do so, and we'll share the list with you.
Thanks for listening to Wealth Made Simple. You can follow and contact Shaz on the Facebook pages Entrust Property Tax and The Profits Wizard. You can also find Shaz on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. Alternatively, email him at shaz@aa-accountants.co.uk. Build your wealth by mastering money.